As a real estate agent, you know how important it is to have other professionals in your network. People that specialize in other areas that help your clients get to the finish line successfully. Well, today I'm bringing in a real estate agent who has a lot of experience working with investor clients as well as investing in real estate herself. And we're going to talk about how a 1031 exchange has played a huge role in her business. So let's get into the conversation. So the first question I have for you, Ashlee, is, as a realtor working with real estate investors, what experience do you have with 1031 exchanges?
I do have experience with 1031 exchanges with some of my clients. I enjoy that process because I am an investor myself and I make it a point to be an investor-friendly realtor. The 1031 is on a timeline, so there's a little bit of that challenge behind using a 1031 because you gotta stick with the time frame, you gotta find the deal that makes sense for the numbers and fit the same, the criteria for the client for what they're looking for. But I do enjoy it, and I think it's a great option for people that want to save money on paying taxes. So I definitely back up all my clients that use 1031 exchanges.
Yeah, because, and you can see with the clients, they're able to reinvest that money that would normally be earmarked or put to the side for taxes. They're able to reinvest it into that new property with them. So, it is a great tool, and, to see that your clients are taking advantage of it, it's a great tool that's available for them. With that, can you share a specific success story where a 1031 exchange has kind of benefited one of your clients?
Absolutely. So I did have a client that was moving here from Colorado. They were relocating to Cape Coral, Florida because a family was there. They had part ownership in a commercial property out in Colorado. So it took some time for that deal to sell and be finalized on their end, but then they were able to roll in the money they made off of that property into a residential home here in Cape Coral that they ended up renting out right away. So time is of the essence. So, it took a little while for that commercial property in Colorado to sell on their end. Once they got the proceeds, I knew what I had to do. I had to find them a residential property that made sense for rental income on their behalf, and we got it done.
Oh no, that's great. And you can actually see the benefit that the 1031 did, being able to reallocate the asset, right? We're going from a commercial property into a residential rental. So, one of the misconceptions out there is that I have to sell a commercial property and buy a commercial property, which is, not the case. And that 1031 both allow them that allocate, location change, being able to diversify from a location standpoint and an asset class standpoint. So,
correct.
Going into the next question here. So what ways have 1031 exchanges enabled your clients, as in this last example, diversify their real estate portfolio? So how does that help your clients there?
So this client that purchased in Cape Coral, moving from Colorado and wanted to put that money into an investment property that would cash flow for them, they had no idea anything about real estate.
Did they know the area as well in Florida?
They weren't very familiar.
Okay, so they were relying on you to kind of help them.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, and as an investor-friendly realtor, I make it a point to travel to different areas in Florida because then I can help people figure out what area they want to be in that fits what they're looking for.
Where the return is going to be maximized the best for them.
Correct. Right. So he had inherited that property in Colorado, and when they only owned a portion of the property. So when they sold it, he pretty much didn't have any idea on what to do. But of course he had professional guidance, someone that specializes in 1031 exchanges, and then a realtor that was investor friendly to help guide the process. Okay. So he walked into a cash flowing property right away.
Does he still have that property?
He does.
Okay, see? So there you go. Perfect.
Yep.
And we touched back in a little bit with that. So, how about on the other side of it? What challenges do your clients face when they're doing the 1031, or that you see when they start doing the 1031? Obviously, we have the time frames and everything, but what else do they see, especially in the current market conditions?
I would say something that I experienced with a client doing a 1031 exchange was it was in the peak of the market, the spring of 22. We were in those bidding wars, so to find a property that is investor friendly and make sure that the numbers work, and then to be able to get in at the right number on the purchase price, that was a little bit challenging because of the high values that we saw in that time in the market. I did have a client that was selling something in Ohio and was purchasing in Lakewood Ranch, Florida, and they bought a condo, beautiful condo. So what that did for them is it allowed them to diversify their investments, into a different state. And the property that I was able to find them, they were walking into bookings already for a short-term rental. So they were walking into cash flow.
Yeah, and you can see, from that standpoint, like the market condition can kind of dictate how the 1031 is going to play out, right? In those scenarios there, we have reverse exchanges where they can buy first before they sell. If there's that bidding war and they're worried about the time frame, you can see how purchasing that replacement property first can truly benefit them, to get into that bidding war. They know the properties and they're not constrained to that 45-day time frame. And then it's clearly a seller's market and they're able to sell their relinquished property quickly.
Absolutely, by doing the reverse.
Yeah, awesome. Next question we have comes through is, can you discuss a situation where 1031 exchange has helped the client upgrade to a better property investment? We touched based on your client there going from Colorado to Cape Coral. Any other scenarios with that, or how those kind of play out for any of your clients?
Sure. So say my client from Colorado and my client from Ohio, they both owned a portion of a commercial property. So by cashing out of their portion of that commercial property, they were able to diversify their portfolio by buying in a different state where they actually would be able to live, or move to or visit and have this rental property that's making them income, because it's more of a paradise than Ohio or Colorado, right? Because of our environment.
Everybody loves Florida right now.
Yes, exactly. But instead of owning a portion of a commercial property, they were now in full control over the residential property that they purchased. They didn't have any partners on that. Okay. So that was good for them.
Yeah, no, it's a great, way, especially when people have a tenant in common interest in the property and they want to sell it and each partner kind of wants to go their own separate way. It's a great way for people to kind of use that exit strategy or that 1031 strategy to eventually go into their own property by themselves.
Yes, and have that control back.
Yeah. So obviously, with that, elaborate, they were able to move their investment to a more favorable market or location, right? So, they were able to go from Colorado to here, and again, you're searching out those properties, right? As an investor, what kind of things are you looking for your investors as a real estate agent when they're looking for those type of replacement properties?
Cash flow. The numbers are everything. Even when I run numbers on my own personal purchases, it's not an emotional decision. It's a numbers game. If it works, perfect, we move forward. If the numbers don't work, then we look for something else.
Do they kind of give you like, here's what I'm looking for, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, or is it more, let's find the location first and see what comes out of that? How do you work with that?
I'd say the bed count and the location are definitely qualifying factors when looking for an investment property. When I buy myself, there's certain neighborhoods that I don't buy in because the cash flow is better in other neighborhoods. But 3-bedroom is typically a lot more common and more desirable for a rental, short-term and long-term, versus like anything smaller.
What about multiple properties, right? Have you had any clients, one of the benefits of a 1031 is being able to exchange from one property into multiple properties, or going from multiple properties into one larger property. Have you had any clients do that?
Yes, so you can do that. You can sell a portion of a property that you own somewhere, and then you can go and buy land, you can buy residential property, and you can stick that money into another multifamily property with other owners. It just depends on what fits your buy box.
Your clients,
yes,
right, that you're
correct.
looking for them. Awesome. Yeah. So I guess, working with your real estate investor clients, do you talk to them about like long-term real estate goals that they're looking for to help determine where to go, how to move, or what they're trying to do overall, so that that you can work with them?
Yes, absolutely. That's also why I make it a point to be a investor-friendly realtor, is because I get repeat business. If I am able to make them money, they're going to come back and use me as their representative because they know they'll make money with me, because I have the knowledge of using a 1031 exchange and I have all these other resources that are investor friendly that they might not be aware of or haven't used before. What's great about a 1031 exchange is that you can keep putting off that tax payment.
Right. And eventually go to the next property, after a while of holding one. If the market changes or the conditions change, you're able to then just transfer, to another 1031 into another property. So I'm sure it continues that process for them and helps build their portfolio there for them. So
yes, some states have different laws when it comes to the 1031 tax situation, but you could essentially never end up paying taxes if you just keep rolling it over. One day you God forbid, pass away and your kids don't actually take on that debt.
Right, yeah, they get the stepped up basis. We call it a swap till you drop, you know, in our world. So, no, absolutely, you know, it's a great estate planning tool that we see, you know, a lot of clients, you know, that do 1031s utilize from that standpoint. So it's definitely one of the big advantages out there for 1031s, you know, clients utilizing that. So awesome, no, that's great. So that wraps up this short interview. Hopefully you got some value out of that. If you're a real estate agent who doesn't have a good relationship with a 1031 exchange partner, reach out and I'd be more than happy to assist. See you in the next video.